Hi, Andrea. How are you doing?
Hi, good. Good
Good,
to
good.
meet you.
Nice to meet you too. We might have some other people joining us here. I know Al, I just spoke to Al and he's going to be joining the call as well, it sounds like.
Good. Okay.
So, and we're broadcasting live now on YouTube. So we're going to get
Okay.
started and we're going to uh, go over the stem cell activation patches and what they are, how they are, what they do, how they work, and all that kind of good stuff. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yes, very new to this. So I'm going to listen to what you have to say. I am meeting with some people, so I may have to, how long is this going to go for?
This will go an hour, and then if you have any other questions, then we can afterwards, we have each other's phone numbers, so we can
Okay.
talk later on.
Okay. Great.
Okay.
Okay.
Very good, very good. So we'll get started here. We're going to be talking about these photobiomodulation patches, which are also known as phototherapy patches or cell activation patches. And we have 11 different types of patches. So we're going to be focusing today on the Fantastic Five, which take care of the primary systems of the body. And we're going to be talking about the mother pluripotent cell activation patch. But before we do that, let's talk about our disclaimers because we want to make sure that we're compliant. These patches do not intend to treat, prevent, or cure any disease. We do not heal, cure, treat, or diagnose, nor do we offer any protocols. The suggestions do not replace the diagnosis and treatment by a qualified licensed healthcare professional. We strongly recommend you consult with your doctor concerning your specific health challenge and treatment needed. No medical claims are being made with the suggestions here. Okay. Also, I want to share, we've had some recent changes with the Food and Drug Administration, and the Food and Drug Administration, also known as the FDA, has taken a position that all claims surrounding stem cells and healing, even those from natural products, will be regarded as drug claims. So the FDA also asserts that claiming that the use of light to elevate peptides, such as GHKCU, is inappropriate for a general wellness product. So as a result, we can't say that, although we have over 90 clinical studies that show that. And these clinical studies have been performed in not only the United States, Europe, and Asia. The thing to also be aware of, I'd like to point out, some of the largest supplement companies in the world don't have any clinical studies, and we have 90 clinical studies. It costs a great deal of money to do clinical studies, and we have 90 that actually show, with the research subjects, significant changes in metabolites, blood markers. I know that we do biomarkers, up to 43 biomarkers. Traditionally, doctors do anywhere from 12 to 18, depending on what type of blood panels, of course, they order, right? So I will let you know what we are allowed to say and what we are not allowed to say, so that there is, in fact, full disclosure and we still are compliant. So the thing to know is that if you look at the history, back in 1973, we have Dr. Lauren Picard, who discovered GHKCU copper peptide activated a third of your previously dormant stem cells, turning genes to a younger, healthier state. Now, this was monumental. He should have won a Nobel Prize for this discovery, but the bottom line is that this was a monumental thing to be able to realize that, wow, just by taking GHKCU copper peptide, that activates a third of your previously dormant stem cells. So let's talk about what are stem cells, because a lot of people have no idea what stem cells, we know that we have cells in our body, but they don't really know what stem cells are. So stem cells are pluripotent cells. What is the word pluripotent? Pluripotent, break it down, pluri comes from plural as opposed to singular, and potent is potential. So a pluripotent cell is a cell that has many potential, has plural potentials. So each one of your stem cells has 100% of all the programming, all the information, all the intelligence to form you in your mother's womb from conception until you take your last breath. So, for example, that pluripotent cell can create a cardiac cell, heart cell. It can create an enterocyte, which is a digestive tract cell, stomach cell, fat cell, red blood cell, an epithelial cell, skin cell, a nerve, etc. The thing to note is that at conception, when your mother's ovum united with your father's sperm, at conception, you now have complete information to the tune of 23,688 genes and stem cells. Prior to that, the information was incomplete. But once those two came together at conception, now you have that complete information. Now you have all the programming required to form you in your mother's womb, and now form you into an embryo. So now let's fast forward to 36 to 40 weeks. Now that embryo has turned into a fetus. Fast forward to 30 years of age. And by the time you're 30 years old, 50% of your stem cells turn off. Not because they're damaged, not because you're destroyed, not because they disappear. It's simply they go dormant. Just because you're 30 years of age, it's a function of aging. Fast forward to 60 years of age, and now you have 90% of the stem cells turn off, and you have the 10% remaining stem cells that are there that are going to carry you for the rest of your life, okay? That's a progression of the aging process until you apply a stem cell activation patch on your body, like this. So now I want you to think about your body. Your body is like a temporary housing unit. It's going to house the energy, the personality, the being that you are, right, Andrea? And the thing to do is to look inside your body. And if you were to look at and think about your stem cells are like printer ink cartridges in a copier machine. When you have brand new ink cartridges, brand new stem cells, color, black and white, you make a photocopy. The copy is indistinguishable from the original. But when you've used up 70%, 80% of that ink, and you only have 10, 20% left, now those copies are faded versions of the original. The same thing is true with your stem cells. When you only have 30%, 20%, 10% left, now the copies of the cells that it's sending out to replace throughout your body, they're faded versions of the original. They're not going to be as crisp and as complete as when you had more stem cells available to you. So how do the patches work? So this little patch, you'll see here in the middle, I have part of the backing. I'll take the back side off. It's about 3 centimeters, about the size of a little bit bigger than a quarter. And in the middle, you'll see a crystal lattice. And if you look here, this image is showing you that we are infrared light beings. It's measuring the electricity, the energy, the light, literally. It's infrared light that we have inside the body. Much like the sun is about 42 to 43% infrared light. Our bodies are infrared light. It's an accumulation of electrons and electrolytes. The electrolytes flow through your bloodstream, loaded with nutrients and information and oxygen. And then you have the electrons that are pretty much in every molecule of your body, every cell of the body. You take your temperature and you'll see that you're 98.6, 98.7 degrees Fahrenheit. It's taking a temperature reading of that infrared light that's inside your body. This picture, in fact, is showing how we're all light inside. And it's not just contained inside the body, but it actually emanates outside of your body, where you can see that it's outside of the skin and even having little, strings of electricity that actually shoot out from your fingertips, your hands, and so forth. So this infrared light, when it makes contact with this cell activation patch, it activates the GHK2 copper peptide, activating a particular protein called P63 in the mother patch. Now, we're no longer allowed to say that that is actually the case because the FDA has taken that new ruling. However, in the past, we were able to say that. But I will indicate to you what we are allowed to say here in just a moment. So the thing to know, I want you to think about a diamond crystal. And if you look here, and you were to imagine my shining a flashlight on this diamond crystal, you will quickly see that the light that comes from the flashlight bounces off of the crystal and reflects back to your eyes all the different prism colors of the rainbow, right? The same thing is going to happen with the crystals that are inside this patch. this patch. If you look at that little white circle is many, many different crystals. They're hydrogen, they're organic oxygen, hydrogen, oxygen, water crystals, organic sugar crystals, organic salt crystals, and an organic proprietary blend of organic amino acids. All of those crystals are simply a mechanical device, just like this diamond that's reflecting light back to your eyes so that it sparkles. That infrared light from your body is going to bounce off of this crystal lattice the moment this patch touches your skin. The light switches on, and now a third of your previously dormant pluripotent cells are activated and turned on through the infrared light. Okay? So while phototherapy has been defined as the use of ultraviolet light for its healing effects, the LifeWave patches have been specifically developed to reflect light in the infrared and visible light bands back onto the skin where the patches have been placed. Supported by normal electrodermal skin conductance, the human body gives off a number of materials biochemically, including particulate release, gas emission, ultraviolet, infrared, near infrared, and visible spectrum light. This then stimulates that area of the skin, producing improved physiological effects. Variations on phototherapy have been used for at least 100 years, and in that time, there's been very little evidence of any negative side effects. So that this suggests that this is a relatively untapped option for healing with relatively few risks. So I want you to notice these are non-transdermal patches, as opposed to transdermal patches like a nicotine patch or a testosterone patch or a birth control patch, which is actually putting chemicals, putting hormones, putting things inside your body. These do not. These are non-transdermal. What does that mean? No. Transdermal transfers into the dermis. So nothing transfers into the dermis, into the skin with these patches. These patches are non-transdermal and they're non-invasive. That means that nothing invades the skin barrier. Nothing is going into the body. No chemical is being absorbed. Not even the sugar and the salt is being absorbed. Hang on just one quick second. I apologize for that. I forgot to set my ringer down. So this is non-invasive. This is nothing invades the body. It's simply a mechanical device to redirect your infrared light. So your infrared light, your body is the battery that operates this medical device. This is an FDA, organic, holistic, FDA compliant class 1 medical device under the general wellness category. And we manufacture our products at FDA registered facilities in the United States, and our facility in Ireland that serves the European Union is registered with the Irish Medicine Board. We manufacture our products to the same standards as a medical device, and in fact, our facility in Ireland is ISO 9001 and ISO 13485. That's a quality standard, and that's a direct quote from our scientist who was originally commissioned. He was originally under contract under the Department of Defense to create all sorts of different inventions for the Department of Defense. And then about 23 years ago, they told him, I go, listen, David, is there a chance that you could invent something that will help the Navy SEALs? The Navy SEALs are currently using amphetamines, uppers, and energy drinks, which work fine, but it's very hard on the body. And when the effects wear out, they crash. You can't have that because of the first line of defense. Might you be able to invent something that will help them enhance their energy? David, as he has always done, he has been an inventor since he was a child, and being a man of prayer and meditation, he went into his first thing into prayer and to meditation, and he received this divine download. And he had this packet of information to invent this, which did not exist at the time, and went to his lab, tested it, and that was the birth of our very first patch, which was named Energy Enhancer 23 years ago. In 2004, when 9/11 took place, defense spending changed. And that's, in effect, what freed David to then expand the line to what we now enjoy are 11 different cell activation patches that have this extraordinary effect. And we're talking about the mother stem cell activation patch, which we no longer call them the mother stem cell activation patch. It's now either the mother cell activation patch or the pluripotent cell activation patch or phototherapy patches, because it does in fact use phototherapy, that we are allowed to say. So it is important that you become aware that water is the building block of life. People are really not knowing how important water really is. It's important to drink 50% your weight in fluid ounces of water just for general well-being. Even if you're not on the patches, it's very important. Water is, we're about 82% water when we're babies, when we come out of our mother's juicy womb, having been swimming in that amniotic sac. Fast forward to a 60-year-old is only about 55% water. Yet, if you look at the human body, our DNA is 92% water. It's the primary structure that holds up your DNA is water. And when you are dehydrated or unhydrated, things in the body actually shrink when you're dehydrated. Not a good thing. The other thing that happens is that, for example, when you're 2% dehydrated, you will feel thirst in your mouth. You will actually feel parched. At 8% dehydration, your DNA starts to unravel. And I'm going to share with you an image here that actually shows you your DNA and what it looks like when it starts to unravel. It's actually rather alarming to know and to become aware that your DNA actually does unravel. Can you see that? That's a picture of DNA. Here, your DNA is properly hydrated. And over here, it's unraveling. It's falling apart because it's dehydrated. What happens when your DNA starts to unravel? Well, guess what? Systems in the body start to fail. You start to have symptoms of this falling apart, if you will. And just to be aware, at 8%, like I said, the DNA, 92% water, it starts to unravel. At 10% dehydration, you start to lose your mind. And at 12% dehydration, it's a hard body shut down because everybody dies at 12%. It's game over. Very important to be hydrated. The other thing to note, that's why oftentimes people will have headaches. It's dehydration. Simply drinking good quality water, maybe a little pinch of Himalayan salt on the tongue before you drink water will open up the electrolytes, signal your body and your brain to have those electrolytes on alert, and then drink water. Really a great practice to incorporate if you don't do that already. So the other thing to note is that if you're dehydrated, your proteins in your body fold when you're dehydrated. Think about 2% dehydration. Let's not go all the way up to 8, 10, or 12. 2% dehydration, guess what? Your proteins start to fold. Let me ask you, if I were to tell you, hey, from this point moving forward, the rest of your day, you have to be bent down with your head towards your knees, and you're going to be folded. Everything you do the rest of the day, go to the bathroom, preparing food, working, driving, you have to do with your head down at your knees. How effective are you going to be if you're folded in half? I venture to say that probably not very effective. Same thing is true with your proteins. When your proteins fold, then you start to manifest symptoms. You have aches, pains, inflammation. You start the decay. It's the falling apart of certain systems of the body. If it's not addressed, it gets worse and worse and worse and worse. So drinking water is of extreme importance. The other thing to know on a more technical side for people that are a little bit more scientifically or medically oriented, there's something called the Krebs cycle in the body that when you're dehydrated, dehydration causes an interruption of the Krebs cycle, which again is basically the beginning of all sorts of disease and conditions and illnesses in the body. One last thing to know is, did you know that your DNA is an energy amplifier? Well, think about it. If your DNA is 92% water, water is a great conductor of electricity, of light. So it's no wonder that it's an energy amplifier. So the patches are to be worn for 12 hours a day. So you apply the patch, and then you're going to wear the patch for 12 hours. Let's say we recommend that you wear them during the day because studies were done with them being day patches, with the exception of there's a few patches that you can wear at night. Or let's say our Silent Nights patch, which is for insomnia. Obviously, you wear that one only at night. and our Alavita patch that elevates your melatonin, regulates some of your organs, but it increases melatonin. That's to put you to sleep. So of course you want to wear that only at night. Also helps with skin. Epithelium peptide is activated with that patch. But you're going to be wearing your patches, the Fantastic 5 per se, from the morning till the evening for 12 hours. Let's say 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. as an example. You have your alarm that goes apply patches 9 a.m. It could be earlier. It could be 5 a.m., 6 a.m., 7 a.m., whatever's normal and constant for you. The main thing is to wear them every day and to wear them for 12 hours from morning until evening. Just as we have a diurnal day in rhythm with the sun is diurnal. We have daylight from sunrise to sunset. Then we have the dark time, nighttime, which is from sunset to sunrise, right? So the patches are going to be honoring that circadian rhythm that your body is already in, because we are Bluetoothed to the sun and to the earth. And for 12 hours on and then 12 hours off, then you discard them. You're matching the 12 hours that you're signaling 33% of your previously dormant pluripotent cells to turn back on for 12 hours. And then you're going to match that with a matching 12 hours of rest, repair, and restore. So let's talk about Dr. John here. Dr. John, when he came to us 2 years ago, is the father of 8 and grandfather of like 26 or 28 grandkids. And he started off as a chiropractor, later became a brain specialist, does a lot of QEEGs and a lot of, he's an expert in brain trauma and brain conditions. And he found himself 2 years ago, he was diagnosed with a right bundle branch blockage of the heart, much to his dismay. Went to 3 different cardiologists, all 3 confirmed the same. All 3 confirmed also that it was inoperable, that he would have to be on heart meds for life, and that his lifespan was compromised and shortened because of this condition, that they would have to closely monitor him moving forward. So he began to search for ways that he could fix this. He thought, surely there has to be something on the planet that can fix me. And then lo and behold, the patches came into his experience. He began to wear the patches. 14 months later, much to his delight, the right bundle branch blockage, when they went to scan him, all 3 cardiologists said, I've never seen this before in my career. I didn't even know that this was a possibility. This is incredible. How is it possible that your right bundle branch blockage just disappeared? And of course, he disclosed to them, well, I've been using these cell activation patches now for 14 months. And the rest is history. We'll also note from this picture, this is actually in the correct order. This is what he looked like 2 years ago. He had gray hair. He had fine lines and wrinkles on his forehead. I affectionately say I could play tic-tac-toe on his forehead because he had these 3 lines that go vertical and other lines that went horizontal. He had lots of inflammation around his eyes. He had thinning eyebrows and just a sprinkle of brown on each eyebrow. And you can clearly see that these pluripotent cells, they replace damaged cells. Why do we have gray hair? Because we have oxidative stress. Why do we have fine lines and wrinkles on the face? Why do we have, skin that's aging? It's oxidative stress. It's damaged cells in the body. And so as those get replaced, your stem cells are smart enough. They're smart cells. They know how to prioritize. We need to take care of the heart first, the liver, the brain. Without those, you cannot survive, right? It takes care of those things, and then it knows to then prioritize that first, and then the other things are secondary, tertiary, etc. And so he got the both and. He got his heart was repaired. It was regenerated and restored to get rid of, basically unring the bell of damage that created that right bundle branch blockage, to also replacing cells that were missing for hair color, for skin collagen, etc. And so he actually looks younger now. He still has some gray on the sides. He's got mostly brown hair on top and sprinkles of gray on the side. His skin is much better. His eyebrows are brown all the way across. And you can see that he definitely looks younger. So that is, I don't want to say it's a side benefit. It's just, this is what pluripotent cells do. This is not just anti-aging. It's regenerative medicine. It is age reversal. It's the reparation of any damaged cell that you have inside or outside of your body. The thing to note, oh, by the way, is that your fibroblasts do begin to decline at the age of 25 years of age in your production of collagen. And I want you to think, it's like, wow. So fibroblasts, collagen is the number one building block protein in the body for tissue, for skin, etc. And if your fibroblasts, which are a critical component of the production of collagen, if that's starting to decline when you're just 25 years of age, no wonder at the age of 30, you already have 50% of your original pluripotent cells starting to turn off. Something to think about. So this is Barry. He was the first person that I patched who had long haulers, and he was plagued with horrible insomnia for 18 months, had terrible headaches, nausea, low stamina, and horrible, horrible fatigue. It was just, he had no energy. And he tried all sorts of things and nothing was really, really helping. He's a Dr. Joe student. I've known him for quite some time, all the way back to like 2019. And so he was really struggling with this. And I said, well, let's try getting you patched and let's see what happens. We started him on the patches, and we started him June 23rd, which was a year ago. And when we started him on the patches, we started him on the Fantastic Five, and he received his patches in Toronto, Canada, that afternoon of the 23rd. So rather than have him put them on in the morning, because he hadn't slept for 18 months and had all these things that were plaguing, and he was suffering, I said, let's just start you tonight, and then you're going to take them off tomorrow, and then get back to me, let me know how was your sleep and how do you feel. So the very next day in the afternoon, because I think he received his patches like at 4 or 5 in Toronto time, he texted me this and he said, hey, Lillian, just a note, don't know if it's a placebo or if the cell activation patches actually work that quick or what, but I had really good sleep, a little better sleep than other nights. I fell asleep quicker. Today, I'm just on a high. This is somebody who had horrible, horrible fatigue and no stamina. He goes, I'm ecstatic. And Gwen sees that in me. And I feel really, really good physically. When I awoke this morning, no headache, no nausea. Can you imagine for 18 months waking up with headaches, nausea, no stamina, and horrible fatigue? All that gone. Yeah, it's just been a phenomenal day. So thank you. And I'll give you an update as we go along. I hope all is well. Thanks. Bye. So I was so excited for him, just my sharing this life-saving technology, that he now had this relief. So this is my friend Kathy McCarthy in Vegas in Nevada. And she started on the patches January of 2022. And she started because she had an autoimmune disorder from 3 breast implants that she had suffered with for 33 years. She was 62 when she started on the patches. We told her, please take pictures before and every 30 days, since she started on the patches, which she did. And then last October, a year ago, October 2022, she posted this on her Facebook page. She was not willing to give us her profile picture. We don't have a picture of her before because she was camera shy. She refused to take the picture before. We're lucky she even took a picture of her neck and her chest. Long story short, she posted this, and I was so excited that she shared this. And I said, oh my gosh, those are such dramatic results. I said, would you please give me your profile picture, what you look like now? Because I know that we couldn't get one before. And she still said no. But I said, well, we were on a Zoom call like this, a private Zoom call. And I said, well, would you be willing for us to do a Zoom like this, where we share this on YouTube and on Facebook and social media, so that people like you who have suffered for so many years with autoimmune disorder can benefit and know that it's a possibility to have your body restored from that? She said, absolutely, yes. And I said, in the Zoom, people will be able to see your face and your neck, and they'll see that this isn't Photoshopped, because I go, I'm going to share this. I'm going to forward and share this on my Facebook page and my other social media. People are going to think that this is Photoshop. Not the people who know me, who are either following me or who are on Facebook, but people who share it with others are going to go, oh, that's Photoshopped. And I want people to know that this is actually the truth. So she did the video. And then after she did the video, I think she felt so great about the whole thing that she did. She's like, you know what? I changed my mind. Here's my profile picture. So now I have that. You'll see she's beautiful. And she does not look like a 63-year-old, even though she's 63 years old. Interestingly enough, she revealed that her husband, he was the first one who noticed that her fine lines and wrinkles, and he noticed that her torso and her arms, her crepey skin was gone. She goes, you no longer, he's like, hun, you no longer have crepey skin. Look at your stomach, look at your arms. It's all, and so he was the first one to notice. It was pretty exciting. So this is my testimonial. I'm not going to spend a long time on this because in fact, I'm doing another interview today after this broadcast. I'm going to be sharing more specifics about these cell activation patches. But my story was that I was hit by a bus. For those people who say yada, 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 get hit by a bus. I was actually hit by a bus while riding my bike. And I was 3 blocks shy of finishing a 16-mile bike ride when I was literally hit from behind in my head and my butt at the same time. I went flying over my bike. Bus driver saw me, miscalculated, made a mistake. I ended up with a traumatic brain injury, a neck injury in my C5, C6, lower back, L1, L5, horrible, miserable. And I had a laceration from my ankle to my knee. Just a bad mess. It throws all of your chemistry out of whack when you have a traumatic brain injury because you have brain damage. Your brain goes offline. It's like taking a computer and having your CPU and disconnecting it from the internet. Electricity is still flowing. It's still on, but retrieving information, future, past, etc., not going to happen, right? I had 0 short-term memory after my accident. And it wasn't until the second year that I even became aware that I had no short-term memory. Long story short, all of this stuff, all of these things were restored and repaired. In fact, my memory is even better than it ever has been my entire life. Because one of the things that I remembered after being on the patches for about 4 or 5 months was, when I was in kindergarten, November of my kindergarten year, I had eye surgery. And when I had eye surgery, obviously they put you under general anesthetics. Anyone who is put under general anesthetics for any kind of procedure for any length of time, what people are not aware of, that there are 4 things that an anesthesiologist does when he puts you under general anesthetics. First thing being, they wipe out your memory. 1, they give you amnesia. Number 2, the second thing they do, they put you under hypnosis. The third thing is they have to give you an analgesia. Analgesia is turning off your pain receptors. Sorry about that. So anyhow, there's 4 things they do. So amnesia, they wipe out your memory because it's traumatic. The brain and the body keep score. And when you are subjected to surgery, they're cutting into your body. That is traumatic to your body. Not only is the memory stored on your left-hand side of the brain, but from the neck down, the energy that's felt from that trauma is also stored. And if you remember that, then you will have what we call an ab reaction. And so in order to give you the best outcome where you're going to recover as quickly as possible, they wipe out your memory. They give you, like I said, amnesia, hypnosis, analgesia is the third thing, which is turning off of pain receptors. And the fourth thing is they paralyze you so that you don't move at all during the surgery, so that whoever the physician and the surgeon is can do whatever precise cuts and so forth that they need in order to accomplish their task of surgery. So I remember that in kindergarten, I had eye surgery. I had both of my eyes operated on. And so that was actually, anytime you are under general anesthetics, one of the outcomes is inadvertently, you get a traumatic brain injury. There's a little bit of brain damage from those things taking place because they have to lower your vitals for the anesthetics to take hold. As they lower your blood pressure, your pulse, your respiration, you're depriving the brain of oxygen, which also inadvertently causes a traumatic brain injury. If you want to learn more about those aspects, I encourage you to check out on Netflix. There's a documentary that I actually was an associate producer on called Quiet Explosions. The film is about traumatic brain injuries. And one of the things that we discovered and that we revealed in that documentary that's on Netflix and Prime called Quiet Explosions, Healing the Brain, we revealed how one of the subjects that we shared in that film, 23 years before he had quadruple heart bypass surgery, was on the surgical, he was in surgery for 8 hours. And even though it had been 23 years that he had undiagnosed a traumatic brain injury. His heart, of course, was in much better shape. That procedure saved his life. It also disabled him because he had memory issues, had fatigue, and all sorts of different things that were tied to traumatic brain injury symptoms and conditions, which then we showed how that could be repaired. Had I had access or in my toolbox, these cell activation patches at the time that we did that documentary, we would have included it in the film. So back in 2018, when we filmed this, we didn't have that. I didn't get access to this until last year of 2022. So I was able to finish up the reparation of not just my traumatic brain injury, but any and all other symptoms that I had going on at that time. Okay, so moving on to, let's go through our bullet points of what the patches do. So again, these reset a third of your genes to your younger, healthier state, and they regenerate cells by replacing damaged cells, restores collagen, rebuilds scarred tissue, reduces fine lines and wrinkles, increases energy, sexual libido, antioxidants, anti-aging, anti-inflammation. If you're having pain, our subjects showed in the research studies, but we also see from people that I've patched in person. Dr. Galley at the Galley Center was wearing a knee brace, and I told him, let's take off your knee brace. Let's patch you here with the patches. I put a Mother X39 activation patch on his knee. And within 3 to 4 minutes, less than 3 to 4 minutes, he was like, my pain is gone. He goes, wow, can it work that fast? I go, yeah. I go, you have 33% of your previously dormant stem cells are actually on right now because we activated it through phototherapy. The rest is history. This also improves hair growth and it gives you deeper, sounder sleep. As you saw with Barry, he had the best improved sleep after just one night, let alone every night. I sleep so well now. Very deep, very sound, solid sleep. So where do we put the patches on? So we have a recommendation, a regimen. Auritus Consilium is a true plan of action using traditional Chinese medicine acupuncture points to magnify the effects of the patches on the body. So you can put them on the neck bump, at the base of your neck. If you just take your fingers and you palpate down your neck, you'll notice that everything is soft until you get to that neck bump. That neck bump is the beginning of your spinal column. That's where your brainstem actually goes down into your spinal column to signal your autonomic nervous system. It's like your information highway is your spinal cord, right? So that is a very powerful governing vessel 14. Very, very powerful acupuncture point because that's where your brainstem branches out. So we apply the patches on that neck bump. Our 90 clinical studies used either that acupuncture point or 3 finger widths right below your belly button, conception vessel 6, which that has to do with anything regarding digestion, conception, fertility, hormones. So anything that's related to your conception, reproduction, hormones, and digestion is that. So either one, people had a choice to use either one. The average study had about 50. Some of them had 75 subjects, but most of them had an average of about 50 subjects. And all of them had significant results from wearing the patches for 30, 60, 90 days and more. So now let's talk about, we talked about the Mother activation patch. Then we're going to go to, you can think of that as like the foundation to your house. And then we're going to have the X49 is going to be like the bearing wall of your home. And then as we add the next 3 patches to complete the Fantastic 5, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. You can see how we're building. It takes care of, again, the primary systems of the body. This next patch does something entirely different. It signals different things in your body, provides you with radiation poisoning relief, because believe it or not, your original blueprint at conception, your cells, there's certain protectors that are there from conception because that infinite intelligence that created the body knew that there are parts on the planet where we were going to naturally be exposed to certain amounts of radiation. So we do have some of that. This patch is going to activate, again, reopen the original playbook from when you were conceived. You're going to get additional radiation poisoning relief. Research studies show that it creates like a Faraday cage around your body that's expanded. But what it also does is it increases lean muscle mass, increases bone density, muscle mass, and strength. Athletes love this patch too. increased energy, focus, and cardiovascular function. Great for your cardiovascular system. This patch protects you from electromagnetic frequencies, from 5G, Bluetooth, Wi-Fi radiation, desktops, TSA scanners, desktops, laptops, iPads, notepads, cell phones, you name it. We have a lot of radiation and electromagnetic frequencies that we are getting also from the blue LED lights in our homes. In California, I know that we no longer can buy incandescent bulbs at the store. If we get incandescent bulbs, we have to order them through Amazon. We are required to have LED lights in our homes. Guess what? LED lights cause blue light toxicity, just like your computer screen, desktop, laptop, cell phones, all have blue light. The blue light toxicity causes insulin resistance. It causes inflammation in the body. And it causes a dysregulation of your circadian rhythms, which don't just affect your sleep cycles, it also affects all the different cycles inside the body. This patch, however, protects you from that. So you have a way to unring that damage, unring that bell. This patch will also reduce your belly fat because it's typically the way the body works is whatever last meal you had, you have glucose, which is an immediate energy source for inside each cell of the body. You have a little cell. If you want to look at your cell being this size and make believe that this is the organelle, this is like the equivalent of your mitochondria. Mitochondria is a little factory inside each cell that processes ATP, and it's what produces energy in the body. It's what moves the electrolytes throughout. So that little organelle gets damaged from blue light toxicity, from EMFs, from radiation. The glucose that you're eating from your most recent meal is normally used as an immediate source of energy. But when you're on this activation patch, it's going to use whatever belly fat you have as an immediate source of energy. So then some people lose weight if they're overweight. If people are underweight, it'll bring you, patches are designed to bring you back into balance. If you have osteoporosis, since this increases bone density, if you have osteoporosis, your osteoporosis, of course, will disappear. Okay. Now let's go on to the next three, which are going to complete your Fantastic Five of your pluripotent cell activation patches. Just a little reminder to definitely drink 50% your weight in fluid ounces of water. Can't emphasize that enough. It's really, really, really important. So the next three patches are our Y-age system. Very, very important. We have glutathione, we have carnosine, and eon. We'll do a close-up. Glutathione, carnosine, and eon. That's the name of the antioxidants in the body, and the patches are named after those, okay? Glutathione, very important master antioxidant. This one detoxifies your body. It's responsible for your immune system. Glutathione is found in every muscle of the body and every single organ of the body. Your brain signals your liver to manufacture glutathione, and then your liver sends it through your bloodstream to coat every single muscle and every single organ. Glutathione is very important for your eyesight. It's very important for brain function, for neurological, anything neurological. Anyone with any kind of neurological compromise usually has low glutathione levels. People who have any type of neurological conditions, when they're tested for their glutathione levels, they either have little or no glutathione, which is why they benefit as soon as they wear the Fantastic Five. Just the mother stem cell activation patch, just the mother pluripotent cell activation patch. This patch alone will increase your glutathione levels by 30% based on what your original blueprint was. But once you get on the Fantastic Five, now this glutathione patch is going to bring it up 300 to 500%. And it's all based on what your original, if your original blueprint says, okay, based on where you are now, we need to get you up 555%. So you're back to where you were when you were like 25, 30, 35 years old. It's whatever is your custom formula, right? If we started, let's say you started wearing the patches today at 9 a.m. You wore them till 9 p.m. When we when you were to check your glutathione levels 24 hours later, you would recognize, become aware that your glutathione levels are in fact 300 to 600% higher just within 24 hours of use. It's a great, germs, virus, bacteria protector because it is an antiviral natural agent, which is original to the body. Also, glutathione is a radioprotector against DNA damage. Remember, I talked about how DNA is 92% water, and when you become 2 to 8% dehydration, it starts to unravel. So this is actually going to protect your DNA. It's going to improve your skin appearance, helps promote relaxation and reduces stress. Glutathione is also important with pain because glutathione works with your nociceptive system, which is your body's ability to feel pain and the pain receptors there. So that's why sometimes we'll take somebody's wearing the Fantastic Five, all of a sudden they have an injury, car accident, falling downstairs or whatnot. We take those patches, and let's say you injured your knee, we put the patches on your knee, and oh my goodness, within that same day, they've got that pain relief. So it's very, very, very powerful. Let me also take the opportunity now. There are people who take glutathione supplements orally. However, there's several enzymes actually in your stomach that completely destroy glutathione in the stomach, not to mention the hydrochloric acid. So you get no benefit. And we have plenty of research studies that show that that show that glutathione supplementation orally does you no benefit because it's basically destroyed in the stomach. So it never gets past that point in the body. It doesn't get absorbed. The only way to take glutathione is through IV. Or in this manner where you're turning on your own glutathione levels that are already inside you get reactivated. That's the most efficient and the most beneficial. Plus, you're signaling it every day for the next 12 months. When you get an IV, you're going to get, let's say it's 500 milligrams of glutathione. It'll be in your bloodstream for 7 minutes. And after 7 minutes, that 500 milligrams drops to 250 milligrams. It drops 50%. And for every 7 minutes, it keeps on dropping 50% till it dissipates and there's nothing left in your body. And then there's no more benefit. You still get a benefit. It's just not as powerful as signaling your own body's glutathione to turn on and then to be 300 to 600% higher. Okay. This is a direct quote from this research paper. The nanoscale glutathione patches improve organ function. Listen up and pay close attention. If you have any issue that's related to any of these organs, this is significant for you. The glutathione patches worn 12 hours daily over a period of 4 weeks produced a highly significant improvement in physiologic functional status of the pancreas, liver, gallbladder, intestines, left and right adrenals, hypothalamus and pituitary gland, and a very significant improvement in pancreas with a statistical power of at least 72%. So stated differently, all organs achieved significant cellular physiologic functional status improvement compared to a baseline with a statistical power of at least 91%. That is pretty impressive, 91%. If you'd like to read this entire paper, I'll show you at the end of the presentation where you can go to read all of our research studies. It's an educational site, so there's nothing for you to buy. It's just purely information and education. Okay. The carnosine patch, right after glutathione, carnosine. The root word for carnosine is carne. Carne in Latin means flesh. This master antioxidant supports and improves your entire cardiovascular system, all things related to heart and muscle. It improves healthy brain function, memory, focus, and brain processing time, strength, stamina, endurance, and it detoxes your brain from aluminum. So we talked about how this is a master detoxifier. Carnosine detoxifies your body and brain from aluminum. Now, I want you to think about the fact that here in the United States, I was born here in the United States, like many of you, and up until 2014, our toothpaste, all toothpaste, was in an aluminum tube. So now you have this toothpaste. From the time you're 2, 3 years old, you start brushing your teeth until now. That toothpaste is in an aluminum tube, absorbing trace amounts of aluminum. Now you take that toothpaste, you're brushing your teeth. You don't swallow the toothpaste, but it's sitting directly on your gums and it's being absorbed directly as well as sublingually directly into your brain, which is it's not even inches away. It's like right there. But that's not all. How many of us have had soda, Coca-Cola, Pepsi, 7-Up, Sprite, cranberry juice, apple juice, orange juice, any type of juice, fruit punches, beer, water, wine in an aluminum can? Yeah, that's more trace amounts of aluminum. How many of us had baked potatoes, baked vegetables, baked chicken, turkey, ham, whatever, fish in aluminum? How many of us have eaten pies baked in tin pie containers? How many of us have had leftovers that we brought home in aluminum containers with aluminum foil over it, or gone to an event where the food was catered and brought in aluminum, containers with aluminum coverings? I mean, it goes on and on and on, not to mention people who work in environments where they have metal shavings and they have, aluminum in their work environment. I mean, your exposure to aluminum is probably far greater than you probably ever thought. And so the good news is that you can undo the damage of that aluminum exposure. We've known for about 25, 30 years that aluminum is a known neurotoxin. And it wasn't until 2014 that Tom's toothpaste, because the consumers of Tom's toothpaste kept on clamoring and saying, why do you have an organic toothpaste in an aluminum tube when we know for the last 25, 30 years that aluminum is a known neurotoxin? We know that it causes brain damage, cognitive decline. No wonder we've had such an exponential growth of people who are now afflicted with Alzheimer's, senility, dementia. And so luckily with this patch, we can unring the bell of the damage that may have been caused from aluminum. So that's a good thing to note. The last thing that this does is that it aids in your wound restoration. If you have any wounds, if you have any lesions inside or outside of the body, all of those, along with the other patches, will get replaced and restored and regenerated to get your body to a younger, healthier, happier state of being. Again, now this is just a little reminder again to drink 50% your weight in fluid ounces of water. I practice what I preach. I tell people, measure out your water every night before you go to sleep. Put it in a hydro flask or a glass bottle. I drink 2 of these a day, and I keep one by where I work, my workstation, and then I have another one. Basically, every night when I fill up my 2 water bottles, I keep one by my bedside. First thing in the morning, I recommend you do as I do, where you want to jumpstart your metabolism and break the fast of not being hydrated or having eaten anything. And before you go to the bathroom or do anything, as soon as you sit up, you reach up, you drink room temperature water until you're satisfied. 6, 8, 10, 12 ounces, whatever your capacity is, where you feel satisfied, not full. Then go to the bathroom, brush your teeth, shower, do whatever you do. 30 minutes later, you're going to have to go to the bathroom again. Your kidneys will flush that out because it knows that it's not having to hold on to that water because it knows that you're hydrating it and you're tending to it. You're going to have to drink water probably 30 minutes, 45 minutes later. You drink some more water. Now you start your day, eat whatever it is that you're going to eat. It's best not to drink water with your food because that dilutes. That's the only time it's not good to drink water is with food, because that dilutes the hydrochloric acid in your stomach and it affects your digestion, and you would be better suited drinking the water 30 minutes after you finish eating. The rest of the day, drink on, my friend and Jem, because you want to keep those proteins open, right? The Eon patch, the last patch, we've got a few minutes left here and then we'll answer your questions. This is our master anti-inflammatory patch. I love this because this really helps bring pain level down with people who have very obvious inflammation in the body. This is our anti-stress happy patch. It raises something called anti-neoplastins, which I'll tell you what those are in just a minute. It increases the DHEA fountain of youth hormone, not to be confused with DHA. DHA is something entirely different. So this increases DHEA fountain of youth hormone. I encourage you to Google DHEA versus DHA so that you actually, by your typing that in, reading it, saying it out loud, you'll know the distinction between DHEA and DHA. But this increases the fountain of youth hormone, which is phenomenal. It also balances the left and the right brain hemisphere. We actually had in our studies where they had QEEGs done. We could see the balancing of the brain. We saw the calming effect as the brain would be from being out of balance, going into balance over 30, 60, 90 days. It got into balance. We saw a significant jump in a lot of them. The 21-day mark, a lot of them in that 90-day period mark, there's significant improvements. But people will notice, I get a lot of feedback from people. They're like, I'm so much happier and I'm calm. And my anxiety, my PTSD, my fidgetiness, my nervousness, that's gone. It's like dissipated. It's like evaporated, like disappeared. It's like erased. And that's because your brain, your left and your right brain hemisphere are in balance. And this reduces your cortisol and your C-reactive protein. Because your adrenals, when you have that fight or flight response because of PTSD, anxiety, whatever trauma that you've experienced or multiple traumas, that elevates your cortisol levels. And then it turns into C-reactive protein in the body. And that really burdens your body over time as your body's still idling high. Once you get calmed down, this cortisol levels are going to be reduced so that you feel calm. And the C-reactive protein is also going to be brought into balance. Now you're in homeostasis, and it's more conducive to even more of your body being repaired even faster and faster. So one of the things that I've noticed is that the reparation in your body is expedited as you continue to stay on the patches, because then there's less things to repair, and then your body can go more on maintenance mode. Okay, so what are anti-neoplastins? I thought you would never ask, but anti-neoplastins, the research studies show that these are peptides that are found in the urine and blood of normal, healthy people. And the studies show that they might stimulate your immune system, and that these peptides might also kill and manage certain cancer cells and prevent them from multiplying, growing, and proliferating. In a clinical setting, they're used for various cancers, high cholesterol, brain swelling due to any kind of infection like encephalitis, meningitis, HIV, AIDS, Parkinson's disease, and there's no limitation of what type of conditions. In a clinical setting, that's called IVIG, which is intravenous immunoglobulin therapy. However, the good news is that by wearing this patch on your brainstem or anywhere on the body, because these can be used anywhere on the body, you have your original anti-neoplastins, 33% more are activated for your benefit. And so that is really quite exciting to know. So did you know, oh, by the way, that blue light destroys your DHEA? That's right. Just watching this computer screen. Luckily, in my case, I'm protected because I'm wearing more than the Fantastic Five. I'm also wearing this patch that deals with neurology, your autonomic nervous system. It regulates it, but it also helps anything related to digestion and anything related to hormones and your hypothalamus. Hypothalamus is definitely very connected to your memory, especially your short-term memory, which is why I still wear it. So blue light, yes, destroys DHEA, causes inflammation in the body, and causes insulin resistance. But like I said, you get to unring the bell with wearing these patches. So how much does this cost? Before we go into that, Andrea and Alice, do either of you have any questions? I want to make sure that I honor and respect the fact that you might have questions. And we have about 5 more minutes and then tops, and then we got to go here.
Thanks, Lillian. We have a lot of questions, but we can connect with you after and continue the conversation.
Okay. What other questions? If anybody has anything quick that they'd like me to answer right now, I'd be more than happy to answer.
Well, one question I have is, so is this something that we're wearing for a period of time and then we don't need to use the patches anymore?
Yeah. So we recommend that you wear the patches for the next 12 months. Why 12 months? 12 months because the body, without being activated by these patches, your body is on a normal schedule of your body's on a normal schedule of 7 years to replace and restore all 56 trillion cells of the body. So that right now, as you sit here, if you go back 8, 9, 10 years ago, not one cell that was in your body 8, 9, 10 years ago is in your body right now, because they've all turned over the last 7 years. The youngest cell in your body is milliseconds old. So now when you get on these patches, everything, because you have 33%, the difference of having just to keep the math easy, think about having a contractor to come in to remodel your house. That contractor A has 10 guys, okay? And it's going to take them 7 years to replace the ceilings, the floors, the walls, the drywall, new flooring, new plumbing, new bathroom, new kitchen, new roof, new stucco, new siding. Everything's going to be brand new, right? It's going to take them 7 years. Contractor B, the better contractor, he's going to come in, but he's got, instead of just 10, he's got 43 guys because you have 33% more, right? So he's going to be able to get the job done in a year's time. He can replace and restore everything inside out, top to bottom, front to back, right to left, because he's got 43 instead of just 10 guys. Plus, he can do it with much more precision and accuracy and pay greater attention to detail because he's just got more power. So that's the same thing is true when you're wearing these patches over the next 12 months. Then after that, for some people, everything is taken care of pretty much in the 12 months. For others, it takes a little longer. Like Bob Campbell. Bob Campbell had prostate cancer. He had plantar fasciitis, and he also had horrible skin cancer, which was the last thing that was repaired in his body. And the first 7 months, he was still in pain wearing the patches, but he had increased energy, increased a lot more stamina. He had much better sleep, but he still had pain at 7 months. Again, he had horrible plantar fasciitis, and he had skin lesions all over his face. He's originally a redhead. And so it took 23 months for all the scabs from his skin cancer to one day he was in the shower, and at the 23rd month, all the scabs just that day. Why that day? No one knows. Under the scabs, he had no scars, even though twice before all those skin lesions of cancer had been burned off of his skin. Twice before. So what we say is 12 months on the patches. You'll know if everything, because most people have either blood tests and go back to their doctors for scans, MRIs, depending on what their conditions are, right? Not everybody needs a PET scan. Not everybody needs an MRI. Most people have blood tests. But in your blood test, for people who have blood tests, some do monthly, some do quarterly, or annually or biannually. But you'll see in your blood test also the results as well as feeling better. So after 12 months, you can stop when you no longer want to regenerate and repair whatever it is that's going on in your body. For myself, I decided I got my memory back. I repaired a whole bunch of other things. To me, I am still on the patches. A lot of us decide after a year or even 2 of being on the patches that we want to just stay as young and as healthy as possible, because there's no shortage of environmental toxins, the blue light toxicity that we get, not just from where we live, but in your car. That's all blue light. You have all LED lights in cars, all LED lights in airplanes, trains, etc. Every store you go to, every work environment, they're all LED lights, fluorescent lights, halogens. So the one way to offset that is being on the patches. But you don't have to stay on the patches not a day longer, not a month longer than you want to. Some people after 12 months, they stop because they feel well enough, and some of them get back on sometime later. Some of them don't. That's individual. That's up to you.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other question? Okay, Alice, Andrea, thank you for joining the broadcast today. Everyone else who is on YouTube watching this, if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, make sure you go ahead, put your comments below. Make sure you like this video so that the algorithm will push this out to more people like yourself that are looking for information about these phototherapy patches and how you can activate your cells. And until tonight, I'll have another broadcast like this. We'll be going over more information, questions and answers about the patches at 7 p.m. Pacific time, and every day at 2 p.m. Monday through Saturday. All right, my friends and gems, ciao for now. Bye.